How are we doing? Oh, come on. I mentioned today. How are we doing? Are you enjoying it? Okay, let's do this. It's a pleasure to be here to round out the first day of this panel. For those who don't recognize Chris James, you probably can't tell it from looking at me, but I've been in the games industry over 25 years now. Most recently running a company called Steel Media or Pocket Gamers. Anybody been to a Pocket Gamer event here? We need to fix that. The sun, that's good, it's brilliant. But yes, so basically, people don't know, Pocket Gamer, it's very similar to Mobidictum. We've been around a little bit longer, but we run events, we run media, we run PG Connect conferences. And we try and promote the games industry. Only I've been doing it for 16 years. Battlegrounds just started, bless you, but we're doing very well. This is my second time in Istanbul. The last time was about 14 years ago, and nothing's changed, fortunately. Things have changed a little bit since that time. When I first came here, I was actually, it was a mobile games event, and it was the time when mobile game operators all over the world. Most of you are too young to remember this, but at one point, the only way you could get a mobile game was through the mobile phone operator to a retail store, and you had to pay £5 per game and about £10 to download the game. It was challenging times. Suffice to say, things have changed a fair bit since then. And in fact, right now we're coming off the back of our biggest ever years of mobile gaming. The mobile games industry is worth $100 billion right now, which is incredible. But as has been pointed out a couple of times in earlier talks you might have seen, we have had a few headwinds. We are reaching a plateau, but we're reaching a few challenges. We have obviously the global economies struggling a little bit. People have a bit less money to spend on things like mobile games. COVID, people are going outside as well. How dare they? How dare they go outside and not play on the mobile phones? And obviously changes the advertising system made it a bit more challenging. So this panel, we want to talk a bit about user acquisition, but we want to talk about a few trends and opportunities. How you, as mobile game developers or publishers or people in the space, can get an edge and get ahead in challenging markets. And we're going to sit down now rather than stand up and face you guys. So, moving across. Are you okay with that?
I missed that part.
That's okay, that's fine. Pretty good. So, my first question, and this is a general one, I'll just answer this question and tell us also a little bit about yourself and what you do in the company. So, the first question is, what is your perception about the mobile games market currently? As you come off this little crest, are you really bullish? Are you up for it, or are you a little bit bearish? Again, go with you first. Yeah.
So I work at ShyftUp, we're a user acquisition agency. I work as the user acquisition manager. And if you go into your question, well, personally I'm an optimistic person, so I'll say I'm pretty much bullish, even though it seems like against the odds. But yeah, I think the market in general, I think it's bullish.
Lots of opportunity, that's great. Emre, Ezgi, what do you think? Are you bullish? And tell us about what you work on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, just to briefly talk about myself, so I'm Emre. I'm an Apple Ads client partner of MobileAction / SearchAds. So basically, we do this. We help the clients with their user acquisition strategies and whatever their app. So definitely, I agree with Ezgi here. Like, I'm definitely bullish. The reason being why is that it has proven time and time again, even in really hard times, mobile gaming or gaming in general has been improving quite very greatly. And back in 2008, one of the biggest games out there was World of Warcraft, which basically made the whole subscription basis, right? And was one of the first really good examples. So
still going.
Yeah, still going. Exactly. And during that time, when the 2008 crisis was there, they were growing their subscriptions quite very greatly. Same thing happened with start of COVID as well. So we've seen, all of us seen, gigantic improvement and gigantic growth in mobile games. So even if things go seemingly bad for everyone else, I do definitely think there's a lot of opportunities that we can find here.
Fantastic. And Ezgi, finally, last but not least, how do you feel about the market and tell us a bit about your business and what you do?
Hello, my name is Ezgi and I'm working as a ASO manager at Panelists. Panelists is a top social casino operator. So I'm also thinking the same like you guys. It depends on your marketing strategy actually. If you have a really if you have a really good team that is dynamic, and also like if you have a really good marketing strategy, you can definitely survive from those conditions, this growing condition, the market saturation and competition, by like, sorry, yeah, but like if you have a really good marketing strategy, you can definitely survive from these conditions.
Okay. Before I go to all questions, this will be audience participation, no it's end day. Right. Who feels bullish about the market? Hands up who thinks the mobile games industry is going to be worth more in, let's say, 3 years than it is now? Come on, are you optimistic? And how many people think it'll be worth less? Well, you've got to put your hand up one more. I can't see that, right? Okay. Broadly bullish, let's say, broadly bullish. So, obviously, I'm sure it's been discussed earlier, I'm not being all the times, but sort of changes to IDFA and other sort of security measures that have been a big issue, flagging on affected the UA business model. I want to ask you a little bit about what is the scale of the impact and how we're dealing with it. And also, the following question, do you think this is just the beginning of more disruption, regardless of who's responsible, or do you think things will calm down? Do you want to have
Yeah. Actually, after the IDFA change, the importance of Apple searches increased because Apple searches is not subject on IDFA change, so it's actually one of the most transparent channels right now. And there's the synergy between Apple searches and App Store optimization, so you can actually increase your rankings with bidding on the most relevant keywords to your app and increase your organic performance. So that's why it also Google also like following the same structure, they announced that they will have their own IDFA policies, but we're expecting them to happen on 2 years later. Or
Yes, right. It's perfect now. You needed the fun.
Okay.
Let it go. Okay, let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, that's why also.
So wait, so
Yeah, okay.
So that's why also the importance of App Store optimization also like increased. So we expect this trend to go same same.
we'll come on to so in a second, but I don't know, Ray, if you have much to say. You're obviously a critical partner of Apple, so you're not being, I'm not expecting to be highly critical of Apple, but do you think there's going to be further changes in the space?
Well, I mean, just to go over briefly, like what Google is doing right now and what they're planning to basically is proof that disruption is going to be happening, but also, how, Apple search is not affected by this, like Ezgi explained, shows that despite these kind of disruptions, it's basically where the bigger types are going to be pulling most of, what's going on to their side, is what I think. So it's usually better for the user, truth be told, it's a little bit bad for us. But definitely we should be expecting further disruption, like specific pinpoint targeting is going to be even harder moving forward. But yeah, we'll basically see. I'm definitely sure that there's going to be alternative solutions out there that will be coming out that will be compensating that to a certain extent over the time. So, yeah.
We'll talk about the positive things you do in a second. What about yourself, Ray? Do you think there's further disruption? Do you agree with that?
I think at the beginning it may have sounded like the end of the world for the resolution of the marketing community. We're always like seeing people talking about spending 6 figures, 7 figures on Apple search ads, and well, we're seeing drastic budget increases over all of our clients. We see that in the market too. And well, with that being said, I think the competition has gotten very much more fiercer, I'll say. So unit costs are, if I can say, skyrocketing. And yeah, there's a lot of competition. And it's kind of looking bullish.
Bullish. Well, it's good of you in the advertising sales business. Definitely. Is there anything for Apple here? Thank God. That's good. Google? Okay, safe. So we probably can't change Apple's mind here. I mean, maybe you can. Maybe you can work. We're not going to fix the money economy either immediately. We'll hopefully come do it soon. But we want to talk about some trends and what we can do as developers and options right now. So we mentioned App Store optimization and search. So App Store optimization obviously increasingly important because that's the place you can focus and target. So what are the absolute kind of highest trends in there at the moment? And what sort of do's and don'ts can you kind of share for your audience? I'm going to let you start because you've got Apple Search on Uber, so you've got things to say, right?
Exactly, yeah, true. Well, thank you very much. So basically, my whole conception of when it comes to App Store optimization and Apple Search ads, and it has been the case, and my colleagues would know this, my partners would know this as well. I've been trying to push them both at the same time as much as possible because I was seeing the gigantic impact on both sides, right? As you are kind of improving the ASO side and the ASO performance, it was affecting positively the Apple Search ads performance. While that was increasing again, it was driving the ASO side higher and higher. So it basically became like a cycle that was benefiting off of each other and snowballing into something pretty great. One example that I could give is there was a specific partner of mine that we were working with the initial launch of an app. Not really a well-known title, not really a well-known company. It was like their second game that they were publishing. So basically, they started off with a very simple 3-match game that they were working with, ranking somewhere around like 200 words in the first month. I introduced Apple Search ads to their pool. They didn't really have that into, they didn't really take that into consideration. And within about a month and a half to 2 months, total number of ranked keywords increased to 2,400, which is 12-fold, and it's a pretty gigantic improvement. Reason being why, like the logic, why does this work, right? And why we should, all be basically going into this, and the important is going to be that both sides are, like I said, impacting each other. Reason being why is on the algorithm side, on the App Store, the paid install and the organic install doesn't really matter, right? If you can increase your download velocity, if you can get really good reviews and ratings, etc., even if it's coming from Apple Search ads or from an organic user, it's identical in the eyes of the algorithm. So once you do these kind of boostings with multiple different keywords, open up a search match ad group, have broad match keywords, etc., you're expanding that pool exponentially and helping, well, basically letting the algorithm help you significantly more with your efforts. So that's one of the things out of many that I would talk about as well.
Okay. And I guess you also need to add to this on tactics and trades.
Maybe I can contribute later on the cherry on top trick. So as you know, there's in-app events in Apple's App Store, and one trick I can share with is creating an in-app event that starts with a keyword that you really value, and as, for example, let's say photo. Your in-app event name will start with photo, and if you're looking to rank for, let's say, photo editor, you create the in-app event, and when a user types a photo, the photo editor in-app event that you created comes up as a fill-in suggestion. So that's a way to drive traffic to a keyword that you're ranking at first with a very low search score. So you'll be having extra traffic for a keyword that you're ranking at the first spot. So essentially you have more users coming down for that channel. So
that's good. Sorry, you've been left to the end of this one.
An ASO manager.
I'll wait till the next one. Well, do you have any sort of tips on that? Sorry, any insight to share?
Well, I actually totally agree with Ege. We're publishing in-app events on a weekly basis, and we're benefiting from in-app events a lot because we discovered that Apple is boosting these in-app events right now a lot. And not only you are increasing your visibility, but also you are increasing your post-install metrics as well, like retention, and it's really a great way to re-engage your users. And what else is also there is product page optimization right now, and it's really good, nice tool especially for new starters who doesn't have so many gigantic budget like Emre says. They can use this A/B testing tool without spending any money, so it's really good.
That sounds good. No spending time with it, but that's a good. So product page optimization, everybody should do it, right? It's a no-brainer. That's like a free service. So product page optimization, in-app events. Is there a limit on how many in-app events you want? I mean, can you do? It sounds like everyone you do is great, but you don't want one every day, I guess. Is there any best practice on that?
First of all, you have to have this event in your
Have the event. Yeah. It's very smaller, right?
I mean, if there is no event like this, Apple will reject your submission. So you can publish it as much as in-app events you want right now.
Okay, all right. I don't make events and apps. I don't know how hard that is. I imagine it's not as easy as I expect it to be. So we've talked about events, we've talked about product page optimization and search, search as well. What else is there? Are there any other kind of UA tips or trends people should be aware of?
Maybe I can share another trick.
You can share tricks we have you learn.
So let's say you have an app, and I've started specifically for the App Store Connect. Let's say you have a localization from the US, and you try to rank as much as keywords, which is very obvious. So another trick I can share with is creating a Mexico localization and leveraging the keyword list in that localization and add English keywords. So you'll see, if you track on your US rankings, you'll see the keyword that you're putting down under your Mexican localization are getting ranked for the US stores. So,
sneaky.
Yeah, it is.
We like that. That's good.
We have a lot more so.
Okay, see map with more sneaky tips. I like that. That's great. Is it just Mexico, or can you kind of go any Central American?
Maybe I can share those.
Fair enough. It's got a service. Can't give it all away.
Yeah.
Do you have any other kind of related tips from ASO you want to throw in there?
Yeah, sure. One of the new things that we talked about product page optimization and events, which the third thing that came out at the same time was custom product pages, right? Something that I've probably heard about, but really didn't utilize that much before. Probably don't really know how to do it at that point because it needs to be attached to a paid ad. It's not really organic, supposedly. But we talked about how search is impacting the organic side. So with that in mind, basically what you're trying to aim the custom product pages is to increase your conversion that's coming in, right? So when we would have the search side, you would have a search ad group. There's like 10 keywords in there that should be targeting a specific intent, or specific wording, something that you're trying to promote within the app, and you're trying to push that with the creators that you're providing in a custom product page. Once you do that strategy right, you always should be seeing an increase in conversion rates compared to your default settings, right? Which then, after you do that, that's going to increase your cost, and once you do that, it also will be increasing your organic performance, simply because of the reason the same amount of traffic might be coming in, you're not really changing your bids, you're not changing your budget, but you're getting more installs from the exact same traffic, which then again, that's something that is affecting your ASO rankings as well, and then it's improving both sides again, the benefit cycle that I was just talking about there. So that's definitely something that should be utilized. The really interesting thing that's coming out is the new ad placements. The main thing that I'm basically waiting for is the Today tab, which is going to be pretty big in my opinion. It's going to have a pretty large impact. I mean, we're not really, we haven't been seeing that much inventory increase when it comes to Apple's and ad networks. Well, ad service at this point. So these are like two new areas that are going to be coming for Today tab, and you might also like part. The more important, of course, is going to be the Today tab. So definitely do utilize when that comes out. Probably should be expecting that to be announced. The announcement will be in a few months. So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic.
And you're probably focusing on iOS. These techniques, how many of these techniques transfer? Obviously, each system is sort of different. Are there comparable opportunities on Google Play, or is it a totally different?
Well, I mean, just for these specific, of course, cases, it's iOS centric, and that's what I'm focused on as an Apple as playing for myself, right? But yeah.
Well, message was it's equal to happen.
Okay, great, awesome. So basically, yeah, there are definitely stuff that you can do on the Google side, that there are similar kind of tools that you can utilize. But since I have more experience on the Apple side, I know what works, and usually the more highest difficulty and the competition and the limitation comes from the iOS side, not necessarily the Google side. So these are the things that you need to be following pretty thoroughly and trying to improve on to get that competitive edge towards your competitors compared to your competitors from the iOS side. Because on the Android side, you have significantly more stuff that you can do with, right?
Okay. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that particular question? You good?
I'm good.
That's good. Good answer. That's good. So before we move to the is there anything else sticking around that's not necessarily just ASO that people should be aware of? I know you guys are specialists in this area and you might not have anything to say about it, but a lot of people are talking about different payment models at the moment. You've obviously got things like NFT and crypto community, you've got subscriptions, you've got other models that can be used into space. I know that you're focused mainly on maximising current models, but do you see any interesting trends or traction there, or just beyond your reach?
Yeah, I would rather leave that.
Leave that away. Yeah. No one's going to see more on that. No way, look at the terror. The terror in our eyes when asked about blockchain. Okay, so understanding your competition and kind of where you fit in the markets is obviously critical, especially in the sharing market where we've got less money out there to compete for. So I've got kind of two questions in this space. Is the amount of data you have available changed at all because of the recent sort of restrictions and security? Do you have less data than you had before about connectors, or is it pretty similar?
Yeah.
Who wants to take it? So has the amount of data available for analysing your competitors changed at all since the IDFA changes and the security changes, or is it? Have you still got lots of data to be able to analyse?
I think we have a sufficient amount of data if you're looking for computer analysis, and certainly the intelligence tools we have are certainly helping that out. So I'd say it's sufficient to have a quite good look around what the competitors are looking and how they're looking.
Okay, so we've got the data, everyone's viewed that. So what do you look for? How do you recommend developers? What should we be looking at? There's a lot, maybe there's too much data. What are sort of metrics you should be comparing yourself on, and how many competitors should you be looking at? You can go. Let me go.
So it depends actually. I mean, it depends on which category you belong to or what kind of app are you. I mean, for example, you may belong to one category, but under this category there's different types of games. For example, for casino category, there's like bingo games, like real money gambling games, social casino games. So you have to analyze this first, and also the market as well. You need to know what your game is offering first of all. And after that, you can go deep dive into your competition. You can check the install metrics in terms of audience as well. Of course, right now I'm talking about. And you can check the installs and their paid activity. The paid activity is also affecting audience.
Okay. And what sort of metrics? How do you recommend comparison analysis? What recommendations do you have? Either of you.
So the way that I like to do it myself, when I'm trying to help my partners as well, is through not necessarily always looking at installs, which is a great idea to look into what is working, what's not working, etc. But I definitely focus on a lot of things where I'm trying to grow the app that already exists, right? And try to make it reach its full potential. And the way that I do that is through quite a lot of keyword research, quite a lot of market research in terms of what is working in the Apple search essay, because I can see the entire story through the search essay, right? Once I have an MP involved as well, I can see from keyword the impression itself all the way down to the subscription. I can see what kind of intent, and I can come up with conclusions from those crucial keywords, saying okay, I have let's say a game that includes 3 different variants inside of it, right? And I can see through my Apple search as efforts, or maybe through my surface, that certain things are working significantly better because I can see them in the numbers as well, right? Some of these keywords are significantly converting over better to purchases or to subscriptions, while others are not working that well, which would then give me an idea to go and do it that way, and then see maybe through intelligence tools like our own to see what kind of impact it's having on what everyone else is doing and what kind of impact it's having on their app as well. So once I combine all this information together, it gives me a good strategy to move forward for the app that I'm working with, rather than just saying yeah, this is not going to work. So yeah, that's the kind of
you have anything to add, Farah? He's taken everything. Sufficient. So we've got a final question, Mark. Has anybody from the audience got a question they want to ask? I know it's the end of the day, so there's a man with his hand up there. There's a microphone. Is a microphone coming? Someone coming to give you a microphone? Yeah. You might be for the... Yeah, it's coming. It's coming microphone. It's for the recording. They like to have it on the mic. I've done this before.
So my question is to Emre actually. So we know MobileAction is like it's a data company, right? Basically. And usually data companies, they have expensive pricings. And it's not only big publishers who want to use these, but also small publishers as well. I mean, small gaming companies. So do you guys have any plans or like how do you guys support the small developers to use your platform?
Well, I mean, this is going to be like a plugin, but yeah, we actually do have something called a freemium tool that we launched a couple months back. That allows you to see the most pinpoint, most useful data. Not everything, of course, in full detail, of course. But we do have a tool that you can sign up for right now. That you're going to be able to do all grades. So work in, look at the keywords, look at the volumes, search volumes, organic rankings, the differences that are happening, what everyone else is doing, your competitors that you're tracking specifically, that you can see it. Basically, it's just for the paid side, they can do that just in a larger scale at that point, right? And it covers most of the basics. Plus, for the search ad side, the platform that we have, search.com for the management, is also something that you can use free for 2 weeks once you sign up and you integrate our API in. So we do have, ways, and we have, different models that we're putting into place. This is helping especially smaller developers that don't really have a budget yet. And hopefully we do help them to, pay that budget eventually to come up to the scale that they actually, want to deserve.
Thank you, Axel. For a free version.
Yeah.
Everyone should
Sign up.
Is the ShyftUp have a free option?
To a certain extent. With the tips, I mean...
Free tips, though.
Yeah, free, yeah.
Great value, both the systems. So anyone else got a question before I go to my final? I'm going to move to the final. So I want to sum up with kind of like thinking about the biggest opportunities and the threats in the line ahead. Although we were here to talk about trends and issues, it can be a user acquisition, it can be anything. What do you see? We sort of started this whole talk by being bullish or bearish. What do you see as the biggest opportunity or opportunities for game developers in the mobile industry in the next few years? And what is the biggest threat? You're going to get to go first.
So, as an opportunity, I believe, as we talk a lot, like Apple searches is like really growing right now. As like marketing strategy, they definitely can invest on it. And as a small, new startup companies, there's a lot of investment opportunities out there since the market is consolidated. This consolidation thing is going on out there. And small businesses can definitely get benefit from this. Get investment and put it on their budget and it grow actually. And as a threat, I believe market is like super saturated and the competition is very hard, and you have to keep this high speed in order to compete. And to do this, you have to have like a really good team that is dynamic, that is like decisions should be done very quickly. That's why you have to have a really good team, I think.
Okay. So that's kind of a threat also.
Yeah. Also opportunity.
Staffing could be a threat then. Okay. Yeah. You can come last. AJ, what do you think?
One opportunity I think might be, so totally speculative work here. It looks like Apple's going to be trying to get into the display advertising space.
Hang on. Possibly.
Possibly, yeah, cool. So I think one opportunity might be there. If the teams or if the companies are pretty much prepared for the upcoming wave or the wave they can ride on. So being prepared for the display advertising space, I think can be a key opportunity over here. So I think people should be definitely like strategizing over it, but not yet launching certain actions yet.
Okay, prepared. Anything you're afraid of? Any threats?
Any threats that I'm afraid of?
You're not afraid. You're not afraid, are you?
There's much less money on the market, so it might be depressing for some companies, but I think for the quality of life or the gaming market, I think it's crucial to have some some pullback, and then it'll grow even better in the coming years.
Bit of a pullback, you see it going.
Sure, higher highs,
Cool. And race for you to bring it home. Come on, let's go. Super.
Well, yeah, I'm a pretty big gaming myself, and I really like the entire story of gaming, starting from the whole point of Pong and how it developed and how it crashed horribly at some point back in the 80s, and now we have mobile devices and things are coming in. And as pointed out, there's a lot of saturation. One of the things that I would definitely say is good is never really be scared to experiment. Do your testing well. Don't be afraid to kill titles if they're not working in the soft launch phase. Don't cling on to things that work good because you're always going to think something that's going to be working better. So these are the things that you should definitely be focused on. The saturation point, yes, but that I think can be overcome to a certain extent with innovation, and you're seeing similar games with very specific different structures that make it really large and really large titles all of a sudden that come into our lives. So I still do think that is going to be increasing, and there's an unlimited potential for that to happen. The only thing that I'm scared of, track-wise, and this is something that I'm seeing as well, is...
Half the spiders.
I live in Australia, so really honest.
It's very close to the scale of spiders.
Exactly, it's really not really a nice place to live if we have fear of spiders. But yeah, the thing that I'm really most scared of is where quantity will try to overcome quality. And that was what crashed the market in the first place back in the 80s when the whole Famicom systems were coming out, right? That was what was the basic really hard halt that happened. And that's the thing that I'm fearful of for mobile gaming as well. It's not that there are not great games out there or there's not enough innovation. It's just that eventually at some point, if it overcomes the quality just drops so drastically and everyone's trying to copy everyone's strategy, then it might be a pretty large threat is what I'm thinking. But yeah, not right now, but it's not too good.
So be agile, be innovative, take advantage of, look at search ads, take advantage of absolute optimization techniques, and all the free services and tips being offered here. I think that's it, so thank you. Give a round of applause please for the end of the day. Thank you very much.